Mark didn't buy anything expensive this month. No splurge, no new car, no vacation, nothing you'd ever look at and say, well, there's your problem. He bought normal things, the kind of things you buy. And yet, if you looked at his bank account right now, his next paycheck is already gone. Every dollar of it spoken for before it even lands. And here's the strange part. Mark has no idea. Without knowing it, Mark's taken out what I call an invisible mortgage, a loan against paychecks he hasn't even earned yet. He's not behind on rent. He didn't gamble. He didn't do anything most people would call reckless. He just made a series of small, reasonable feeling choices, and every one of them quietly reached into his future. There's a single word behind all of this, and I'll get to it. But here's the part that should really bother you. And it's the twist most people never see. The company on the other side of Mark's screen has built more than one way to get paid, even off the people who never miss a payment. By the end of this, you'll see exactly how they win 4 different ways. He didn't lose a paycheck. He spent one he hadn't earned yet. Let's rewind to the very first purchase, because this is where it all starts. And it starts so gently, you'd never call it a mistake. Mark buys one ordinary $100 thing, a pair of shoes, let's say. At checkout, he's offered a choice he barely registers as a choice. Pay the whole 100 now, or just $25 today. 4 easy payments, 0% interest. No catch, they promise. So, of course, he taps. And here's the thing. That decision feels like nothing. Because it is almost nothing in the moment, his brain only clocks the first slice. The real price, the full $100 he's now committed to, sits exactly where he never looks. That's why it doesn't feel like debt. Debt feels heavy. This feels light. That lightness is the entire design. And it's spread everywhere. It's gotten so normal that people are literally financing a $15 burrito in 4 payments. A burrito, something you'll have digested before the second payment clears. When splitting a lunch across 6 weeks feels reasonable, you know the psychology is already won. But here's what I want you to hold on to. One purchase is fine. It won't hurt anyone. That was never the trap. Because once that first trap feels free, why would he stop? A gadget he'd been eyeing. Split it. Groceries on a tight week? Split it. Concert tickets because they were right there. Split it. 5 normal buys over a couple of weeks. Not one of them felt like a decision. Each one felt like the shoes. Light, easy, $25. Manageable. So let's do the math Mark never did. Here's what Mark thinks he spent this week. 5 purchases, $25 each. 5 times 25, $125. In his head, that's the number. 125. Totally reasonable. But that's not what he spent. That's just the first slice of what he spent. Here's what he actually signed up for. 5 items at $100 each. 5 times 100, $500. Real money, really owed, spread out over the next 6 weeks in payments he's already forgotten scheduling. Now let's anchor that to something real. 1 paycheck. Mark's next check is $1,500, and $500 of what he's just committed is already spoken for. A full third of that check's worth, claimed by purchases he can barely remember making. Not spent on rent, not on savings, on 5 small yeses that each felt like nothing. This has a name. It's called loan stacking. Running several of these little loans at the same time, each with its own due date, all overlapping. And Mark is not some outlier here. About 6 in 10 pay later users have juggled more than one of these loans at once, and about a third have run loans across multiple lenders at the same time. It's not the exception. For a lot of people, it's just how the whole thing works. And that's the real trap. No single choice broke him. It was all of them landing on the same paycheck. So let's sit with Mark in the exact moment before he taps, because this is where the whole thing is engineered. His thumb is hovering. There's that little hit of excitement. The thing is almost his. And look closely at the screen. The pay later option isn't just offered, it's already selected, glowing one tap away, while pay in full hides in smaller, grayer text below. He didn't choose the easy path, it was chosen for him. Two things work against him at once. Splitting the price makes the spending stop hurting. $25 barely registers, where $100 would sting. The brake that normally stops you from overspending quietly switched off. And our brains are wired to want it now far more than to wait and save. That's not weakness, it's human. And that button is built to exploit it every single time. So let me be clear, it's not that Mark's weak. That button was built to win. But the button is only half of the story, because the real question isn't why you keep tapping. It's who's getting paid every time you do. Now, remember what I promised you at the start? Let's follow the money. If there's genuinely no interest, 0%, they say it right on the screen, then how are these companies worth billions of dollars? Nobody builds an empire giving away money for free, because it turns out they don't get paid one way. They get paid 4 ways. First, they get paid on store fees. Every time Mark taps that button, the shop itself hands them a cut, usually around 4 to 6% of the sale, and sometimes higher, compared to roughly 2 to 3% for a normal credit card. The store pays it gladly because pay later makes people buy more and buy bigger. So before Mark has made a single payment, they've already been paid. And many of them still get paid when you slip. With a lot of providers, miss a payment even by a single day, and a late fee kicks in, often up to around $7 to $10 depending on the provider. And this is not some rare edge case. Nearly half of all pay later users, 47%, paid late in the past year, and that number has climbed 3 years in a row. So for these providers, late fees aren't a bug in the system, they're a feature, a revenue stream with your name on it. And they get paid off of what they learn about you. Every purchase tells them what you buy, when you buy it, and how impulsively you do it. That's an incredibly detailed portrait of your spending psychology, and that data doesn't just sit there. Providers use it to target you with more offers, and some share or sell those purchase insights to other retailers. A few of the biggest have even described themselves as marketing companies, not payment companies. You're not just the consumer, your data is part of what's for sale. And here's the one that really gets me, the twist I promised you. Even when you do everything perfectly, they've usually already made their money. They've collected the store's fee up front, before your first payment was ever due. And they bundle thousands of little loans like Mark's and sell that pile onto bigger institutions. So even the person who pays on time every time, never a cent late, they've already turned a profit on you. Paying perfectly doesn't get you out of the machine. It just makes you the cheapest, most reliable customer they have. And that single word I promised you at the very start? Here it is. What you're actually spending when you tap Pay Later isn't money you have. It's your future income, paychecks you haven't earned yet, quietly promised away, one slice at a time. Interest was never how they win, so paying on time doesn't cost them a thing. The only piece still in your control is you. So let's pay off that flash forward from the beginning. Here's Mark on payday. The check he worked 2 weeks for finally clears, $1,500, but a big piece of it is already spoken for. He put $125 down at checkout, and the rest of that $500 keeps peeling off in pieces, check after check, for purchases he can barely picture anymore. He's not paying for his future, he's paying for a past he barely remembers. And then comes the turn. For the first time, he lays the whole stack out in front of him. Every loan, every due date, side by side. And he finally sees it. Not one small payment, but a wall of them, stretching into next month and the month after. He sees all at once how much of every future check is already spoken for before he's even earned it. He never went broke in a day. He did it one yes at a time. Now, before we land this, let's be completely fair. Pay later isn't evil any more than a knife is evil. In the right hands, on something you'd have bought anyway with money you already know is coming, it's just a tool. The problem is it's handed to everyone, blade first, wrapped to look like a gift. The real danger was never the product. It's that it spends your tomorrow while you're still enjoying today, and you never feel the cut. Which brings us to the only question that really matters. Remember that paycheck from the beginning, the one that vanished before it landed? It didn't have to. That's the whole point. Nothing about pay later is magic. It's just your future income borrowed early and dressed up to feel free. That's the invisible mortgage. And the moment you can see it, it loses its grip on you. So here's the whole playbook, and it's short. 1. Before you tap Pay in 4, wait 24 hours because the impulse is the product and it fades fast. 2. Never stack. One plan at a time, paid off before the next, so a paycheck never has to carry 5 at once. And 3. If you couldn't buy it twice at full price today, don't buy it once in installments. That's the whole playbook. It's not exciting, and that's exactly why it works. So if you take one thing from all of this, take this. If you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it once. If the full price scares you, 4 easy payments should scare you more. If this made the trap a little easier to spot, stick around. That's the entire point of this channel. Next, we'll break down the one type of debt that can actually work for you. And I think it'll surprise you. See you there. Money Decoded. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.